Compared with last year, winter in Boston has been fairly manageable, but it still gets cold, and people who struggle with the cost of heating can still get help from the program run by the anti-poverty agency ABCD. Joining us is our guest from ABCD is the president and CEO, John Drew. Thank you very much for being with us, John.
Thank you for having me.
John, if the weather and the energy costs aren't so bad, I guess talk about the cost of living for the population.
Well, you know, in some ways you could say, well, this is a dividend for poor people. The cost of energy is down for oil, and the weather's been decent, except for last night, a few nights ago. But the thing is that with heating assistance, we pay dealers directly. We still see it in the same number of people because the incomes haven't increased. That's the first one. Their rents have increased, or they've had to leave town. Now they want to raise their T fares. They're all on limited income. And so whatever you bump up in their life household affects them dramatically. There's a very big effect, not like somebody who's making all right, you get an increase in something, you can manage it. This becomes unmanageable sometimes. So during the winter, we've got a lot of people applying, and we'll pick up now, it's cold. And people we have less, unfortunately for us and for them. You know, it's always between a rock and a hard place if you're low income. One is the price of home heating oil is less than it was last year. The federal benefits are less than last year because they didn't put the money in the budget. So on balance, I did get a little more heating assistance, that is heat, than last year. Not a lot, but it won't be enough to make the winter. And so we're seeing rows and rows of people coming in now. I think if people remember maybe when there were hard times in their lives, you're not necessarily focused on the future, but what's happening right this moment. I'm not making enough money, can I make the rent? So applying for heating assistance when it's warmer, but now it's freezing. So we're out there saying, come on, come in from the cold, get the heating assistance, you will get a discount on your electric bill, we'll get your weatherization, and it'll be another way of helping you get through the year. So this is part of what I'm doing today is I want everybody who's possibly can think that let's put it this way, I want everybody to apply. Some of you may not get it. You may be over income, but the income guidelines are pretty high, and you do have to apply, and it's well worth applying because next year you'll already be in the queue. Next year, when the home heating prices go back up, and we have another blizzard winter, you'll be in the queue. And that's important to tell people. We don't just drop you after the first year.
John, what we've heard before is that you shouldn't wait until you're running on empty to apply. So explain the reason for that.
Well, if you have oil and you moderate means of low income, you're a COD customer, meaning you don't get a line of credit with an oil dealer, you pay on delivery. And if you're paying for 275 gallons at $2 a piece, that's $2 per gallon, that's $700 you have to have in your hand when they deliver it. So what happens is that people sort of don't put that off, and they put that off. And when the oil gets down to a point where you're empty, you can't deliver until it's primed. Somebody has to come out and prime it, then you get delivery. So we caution people as best we can, keep 100 gallons, do what you can. We can give you 100 emergency, contact us. You don't want the burner to go down, possibly malfunction. And clearly we don't want your pipes to freeze in the house. So try as best you can to get the smaller deliveries rather than making the big deliveries. I know it's awful hard for somebody making gross income of $500 a week before taxes with 3 kids to have $700 on hand to pay an oil dealer for delivery. So, let us help make that happen with maximum benefits, $900. You may qualify for that. But yeah, you don't want to be out of oil in the winter because of all of the heating sources. Oil is one of the ones that has no regulation. That is, if you have gas or electricity, when the moratorium, state moratorium sets in, you can't be shut off even if you don't pay the bill. You'll be shut off at the end of the winter, but you can't be shut off during the winter. Oil, you can be shut off.
John, what about the income ceiling for this kind of fuel assistance?
Well, I got it right here. I can give you quickly. I'm sorry.
And because sometimes people might think it has to be extremely low, but I guess it's fairly low.
I'll give you an example. I mean, it goes on household size. So, and you do get a benefit level commensurate with your income. For example, the bottom, if you're a single living on Social Security for $11,000, $770 total household income, you get $900. If you have 17 children, I'm serious.
The Mother Hubbard right here.
And you can make $105,000, you will get $700. So, excuse me, you'll get $420. So you can see that in that range, it depends how many people in the household and your income. So therefore, it's nice and wide for people to think about, well, maybe I'm making a decent salary, but I got a lot of kids. I got this house is kind of got holes in it. Stuff's going up in the attic, and I can't afford 5 or 6 or 7 gallons, tanks of oil. So come in. That's why I said we really want you to apply, because the income gauge is large enough, household size, that we probably could fit you in someplace.
Now, one of the things I've noticed dealing with this myself is, at least dealing with the cold, is that for a small amount of money, you can go to Home Depot and buy some things that can, you can really feel the difference. And I guess ABCD can help with that, and people can get it for free.
We have done thousands and thousands of households. We do a variety of programs. We actually are doing, with the utilities, replacing refrigerators, which are high energy use, free. We do all of the insulation in the house. We do boiler replacement, burner replacement. So if you get the heating assistance, you get into that line, and we can then reduce your actual consumption. So the benefit goes even further. So yeah, we do hundreds and hundreds of households here across the state. And we've been doing major buildings where there's a lot of people living. We're replacing the boilers, and we're doing solar, and we've done some wind, not much, but we're doing some alternative energy, and try to get people to be able to maximize the amount of energy they use and minimize the cost for it. That's what we're about.
So if people want to sign up for this program, what's the best thing they can do?
Well, I have telephone numbers, a whole bunch of them, and then go to ABCD's website, abcd.org. Let me give you a couple of telephone numbers.
And I think you've got 617-357-6012.
He's way ahead of me. I love it. That's ABCD, but the surrounding towns we're in now are 781-322-6284, Malden, Medford, Everett, and all that. And then, if you're any place in the state, you call 800-632-8175, and that will get you hooked up to any place in the state. We have 23 other programs in the state, so we cover the whole state. So those 3 telephone numbers alone will allow you to get access. Or if you're in Boston or Malden, walk into one of our offices. They're very prominent, and you can find us. Go in, make out an application. You'll have to bring in documentation. This is a documented program. We need your income, we need everything else. But once we've got all that, we'll get you in.
I've got to ask you one other topic here about your service population. As you know, officials are talking very seriously about a fair increase on the T, and it might be more than 5%, but there might also be some discounts for people with lower income. What do you think about that?
Well, I hope they do. I mean, when we heard, they originally started talking about this in December, I believe. I saw in the paper, Secretary of Transportation talking about maybe we should have discounts. So I asked my people to go over and talk directly to their people at the planning. I said, look, if you are giving discounts, then we have a way of certifying. We can certify thousands of people who are low income, depending on your criteria. We're glad to do that. We had 40, 50,000 households alone that we actually give cards to. So we offered, not only offered, we said, look, it's imperative that you really consider no increase for low-income people. They can't afford any increase. But if you're intending to try to squeeze dollars out of everybody, please try to find a way to give the most needy people who use the T more than anybody else. They can't call Uber. They don't have a car. And if they don't get to work on time, they lose their job or they lose income. These people should not be paying the price for whatever the T's problems have been in the past. So if you want to do a discount, we and others can help you certify that the people are eligible for that discount.
One other thing ABCD is doing to help people save money is get back their due money on the federal tax returns, the earned income tax credit. Explain how that works.
Oh, I love this. It's federal and state. You have to file a tax return, number one. And if you make up to $53,000 with 3 children, because there is a formula, 2 children, 1 children, no children, but no children still qualifies for a lower bound. You get $6,200 earned income credit and another $700 from the state if you have 3 children and make up to $53,000. That is not, it's called a credit, but it is that you get a check from the federal government over and above any other money that may be coming back to you. And it's really to, reward is not a good word, because I don't think anybody should be talking about rewarding people who work awful hard and don't make a lot of money in this country with the haves and have-nots. But it really is sort of a reward for hard-working, poor people who don't make great income. The government actually sends you a check. Sometimes it's for 20% of the whole household income. What you have to do, though, is you have to apply and you have to fill out the forms, and you have to fill out an income tax credit and a child tax credit. So we have arrangements working with the city of Boston to do tax preparation. We're doing it right now. We will collectively with the city do anywhere up to 8,000, maybe even more tax returns. We'll bring a lot of money back in households. People come in. We're hooked up to the IRS, we're a VITA site, which is good. And therefore, when they come in, we have volunteers who do this. We get them trained as tax preparers, which is kind of nice. A lot of college students like that. They become professional tax preparers. They, working with us, sit there, person files the tax, goes right in. And assuming that return comes back in 2 weeks, saves that person the cost of tax preparation could be quite high. Whatever people charge.
That's the difference between going to some tax preparation business and
no
you're doing it for free.
No free. And by the way, we're not competing so much as this is what the IRS wants. So we'll do tax returns often for people who low income who don't have the earned income tax credit. We'll do the free tax return. The bottom line is to make sure people file the returns. 2 is that they maximize the amount that's due to them. And I think this is a great program. It's not going to make up for the income disparities in this country. Believe me, this is not a panacea. But if we have nothing else, and somebody's working so hard, 2 jobs or whatever, to hold the family together, and any little bill can break that household, having the federal government and the state government send back a check, that's not bad.
And I guess the other thing that's important here, too, is that you might have not made very much money, and you might think that, well, maybe you really aren't required to file a return, but if you do file a return, there's a payoff.
Point. I think 1 out of 5 now, it used to be much higher, are not getting their earned income tax credit. That's what they tell me. So 4 or 5 that's because over years we'll get more and more people to file. But you may be in the, I'm going to get Social Security, I don't have to file. Well, if you file and you're an elder, you're going to get something called the connector on the state tax return to give you $900, but you have to file the return. If you look at your income, it's small, you got a couple of kids, no tax, no. If you file that return, there's a good chance you'll get a check back from the government.
So, John, the next step is for people to go to ABCD, call up, and see if they can find out when there's a session they can bring their tax.
Well, we're doing appointments, and I get all kinds of pieces of paper with you today. But we have 14 sites that we're working with the city. We work the city altogether. There's 26 sites in the city. And there's some telephone numbers that are out there, but hopefully I can quickly get one of them. But
We can post that, Sean. In the meantime, I guess that there's also the website.
let me just say, let me say this. We do the returns in Spanish with the people who have languages: Spanish, Arabic, Haitian Creole, Cantonese, Thai, Portuguese, and Vietnamese. So they come in and we have translators available to work their tax returns with them. It's an added bonus.
Thank you very much for being with us.
Thank you for having me.
From ABCD, John Drew.